Second thing is distracted vision. It's distracted vision. We had a dream, we had something we wanted to do, but something else happened. And now I just kind of walked away from it because I just got, like, I'm gonna do it at some point, just not yet. Like, I want to, but you know, I'm talking to this person over here and it's harder than what I thought it was gonna be. It's just not, it's not easy. Have you ever been, I've talked to you about this before. You ever been driving and you're following the directions and you're listening to a podcast and you have to turn the podcast down, or maybe you have a bunch of kids and you're like, y'all be quiet. I can't see. And if you have smart aleck kids, they're like, do you need your ears to see? And apparently, yes, it helps a lot. Can I tell you what your hearing does? It's connected to the cortex in your brain. Let me show you. It's easier for me to just show you. Close your eyes if you don't mind. If you're watching online, close your eyes. At all of our campuses, just close your eyes. Your brain's visual cortex uses information from your ears. So nobody looking around right now, okay? If you have a purse, hold on to it. This is church. Everybody's welcome here, okay? All right. Just keep your eyes closed for a second, okay? And I'm gonna make a sound, and when I make a sound, you're gonna see something, okay? Quite possibly one of the dumbest things I've ever done. But just don't look around. All right, here we go. Okay, open your eyes. I just barked. That's the dumbest thing I've ever done. Somebody's like, are we at one of those churches where they bark and get weird? No. No, we're not. Okay, this is dumb. There's many better ways I could have used and done this example. But did any of y'all see a dog? Raise your hand if you kind of saw a dog. Okay, now that's fun. No, hold them up high, hold them up high, hold them up high. I can't believe y'all knew it was me. I never dreamed that. I thought of that idea last night at 11:30. I was like, I'm gonna bark at him. And y'all knew it was me and you still saw it though. Why? Because sound causes expectation for sight. Sound, I'm gonna say it again. Sound causes expectation for sight. So what I'm hearing gets me prepared for what I'm going to be seeing. So if I'm constantly hearing negativity and I'm constantly hearing fear and I'm constantly hearing death and destruction, then that's probably what I'm gonna see with my dreams and my marriage and my family. But if I'm listening to life and I'm believing the word of God and I know that he's able to do exceeding abundantly above all that we can ask or think according to the power that's at work in us, then I'm gonna see great things. I've heard that expectation is the breeding ground for the miraculous, but the breeding ground for expectation is what I hear. And some of us have such distracted vision because we're around the wrong people. Listen to the wrong thing. That's why we're doing a fast right now. I told you the story about the man who brought his son to the disciples and said, my son is vexed with the spirit. He cast himself into the fire. Can you help me? And they said, sure we can. And they prayed and nothing happened. And then he brought him to Jesus and said, hey, I brought him to your disciples and nothing happened. And Jesus got upset and he said, you unbelieving and perverse. Everybody say unbelieving and perverse generation, how long will I be with you? And then Jesus prays for the boy is healed. And later on, when they're in private, the disciples, because they were publicly embarrassed and humiliated, and they look at Jesus and said, why weren't we able to do this? And he said, this kind goeth not out but by prayer and fasting. So he gave them the problem. You're unbelieving and you're perverse. Unbelieving means I'm too far from God. Perverse means I'm too close to the world. What does prayer do? Gets me close to God. What does fasting do? Gets me further from the world. That's why we're in the 7th day of a 21 days of prayer and fasting, and we're already seeing God do amazing things. You need to be praying and fasting. Why? Because it focuses your faith. It focuses your vision. It removes distractions. The third thing that I think keeps you from getting the do-over, from doing the things that God has called you to do, is simply disbelief. Now, what's crazy to me is you can believe that God can do something for somebody else and not believe that he can do it for you. Like somehow believe that God gets a case of mistaken identity when he calls you. Like you hear, John. You're like, yes, Lord. And he's like, I meant Juan. I'm sorry. It's Houston, man. Come on. That's an easy mistake, right? That was dumb, but it was funny. God never has a case of mistaken identity. The enemy just tries to disqualify you. And when you're blinded to the possibilities of your future, you'll settle for the familiarities of your past. And you'll say, I never could, so I never can. I've always been this way, so it will always be this way. No, it doesn't have to be that way. You just have to get tired of being that way.